Hi there, another video today, having a look at the carbon fibre and end grain balsa subchassis. The first question you're going to ask is, what is end grain balsa? So this is end grain balsa. It's rectangles of balsa wood, and if you have a look at it, you can see the grain runs in this direction. So it runs on the from the top to the bottom of the sheet, and you can see that they've cut various rectangles of balsa and then they've bonded them to this single layer of woven rovings of glass fibre to keep the sheet together. Now, looks pretty floppy there, doesn't it? But basically the whole point of this material is it's not so strong in this direction, but under compression and in tension in this direction it's incredibly rigid, and it weighs next to nothing, being balsa wood. Not much use in that form, but when we sandwich it between, or laminate it between, two layers of carbon fibre sheet, we end up with a very rigid structure. Now, the end grain balsa, it's laminated on each side with 4 layers of carbon fibre cloth, which are infused with epoxy resin, and we start off with a flexible cloth and we end up with an incredibly pretty hard and rigid structure. Now, if we have a look at the original, or the standard subchassis, see that it's made from pressed steel, and it's been reinforced along its length with a U-shaped piece of steel. It's been bent into shape and it's been bonded onto the rest of the subchassis with epoxy resin, and that's been done to give it more rigidity along its length. Now, to mirror this sort of design in my subchassis, can't see, although I do have some pictures of these subchassis being fabricated. Within the subchassis there are 2 carbon spines running the entire length of the subchassis, so from there down to the centre, down to the end. Now, these 2 spines connect to the top and bottom layers of carbon fibre, so they produce a box section of carbon fibre throughout the middle of the subchassis, and this mirrors the rigidity of the original. Now, this subchassis is for an LP12, but these can be made and installed in Aristons, for instance, an RD80. I've done one, I've put one in one of those to replace the original in a custom plinth and top plate setup, and also in a Thorens TD150. The custom subchassis can be created for those turntables, which really modernise them, bring them up to date, and improve the appearance, because these look great. Unfortunately, you don't see them inside the turntable in normal use, but when you take the bottom off and have a look at it, they look really nice. The hole drill there, it enables you to earth the subchassis if you so wish. So a stainless bolt runs through the subchassis with a nut and washer on this side, and you can attach your earthing wire, because you have to remember, carbon fibre composite, it does conduct electricity pretty well, so if you need, you may or may not need to earth it, depending on what arm you're using and how the turntable's performing. But if you do, the facility is there. Just to illustrate how light these carbon composite structures can be, comparable to, for instance, its pressed steel counterpart. Let's weigh them and see what they weigh out of interest. Okay, so we'll weigh the carbon composite version first, and it weighs exactly 370 grams. So 370 for the carbon one, And let's weigh the pressed steel item. 789 grams, so the carbon version is less than half the weight of the original, which is impressive. There is a school of thought which would say that a very lightweight structure for the subchassis is desirable in order to keep most of the mass, the sprung mass of the turntable in the platter, so keep most of the mass within the gyroscopic action of the platter. I don't know about that, but what I do know is that this material has completely different sonic properties to a pressed steel or maybe an aluminium item. When we knock it, it's incredibly inert. It doesn't ring, it doesn't resonate. It's a very sonically inert material. We have a look at the original. Totally different properties. It rings like a bell. So, you know, you have to ask yourself, you know, if the tiny vibrations that might come from the main bearing or any vibrations transmitted from the motor through the top plate into the bolts, into the springs, into the subchassis, which one is going to perform better? And I'd say the carbon fibre composite version, because it's a lot harder for vibrations to travel through this material and reach the tone arm, basically, which could affect the sound production for the discerning ear that could be listening to it. Okay, so that's an overview of the carbon composite subchassis. So I hope that's been of interest to people watching, and there will be more videos very soon. Okay, thank you, bye.